So day 2 of the draft was yesterday, and it was one of the more exciting day 2s of the draft in recent memory. Really shows you how much depth this draft class had at a lot of different positions, where you still had some very, very intriguing names on the board as late as the 3rd round. It was an interesting day 2 from that standpoint. It was an even more interesting day 2 for the Browns, because of what unfolded at the end of round 1, which was Grant Delpit and Xavier McKinney both falling completely out of the 1st round. I'm not going to lie to you. I thought the Browns had to trade up to get one of those guys, and they definitely needed to get one of those guys. Not that I don't like Anton Winfield. I just think those two are a step above Anton Winfield. They did not do that. They waited and waited, and then they traded back, got a 3rd round pick for next year, and continued to wait, and still got Grant Delpit. That's just good luck. You get lucky with Wills falling to you at 10 like a gift from the heavens. And then this one, just like Greedy Williams last year, you get a top tier LSU, a guy who was supposed to be a top 15 pick, fall to you in the 2nd round. And you got an extra 3rd round pick to do it. That's just great. And let me tell you why I like Grant Delpit. I think he's very athletic. I think he is going to be, when he's healthy, the safety that we saw at LSU in 2018, the athletic, the willing tackler. And also, let me actually, while I'm on that, let me talk about the narrative that's out there about him, the bad tackler narrative. And it's not necessarily not true. He's not a great tackler in certain situations, but the entire narrative of him just lazily being labeled as just a completely bad tackler all around is kind of misleading, because the truth of him, if you watch his tape, he's a willing tackler. He's willing to put his head in there. He's willing to get physical. He also is a good tackler when the play's in front of him. So if he's coming down against a bubble screen, or, he's coming down on the seams to tackle a tight end, he's actually solid as a tackler in those spots. Actually pretty good in those situations. It's when you ask him to kind of be in the box and make impromptu tackles that he's just not that great at, which is fine, because he's going to be a free safety in NFL. And where his flaws are as a tackler just aren't really relevant when it comes to a free safety, because he's not going to be in those situations as a free safety. He's just not going to be a guy who's going to be in the box a lot, especially for the Cleveland Browns, because they have Carl Joseph, who is much, much better at that and is a legitimate thumper at the strong safety position. So I don't see him having to be in those situations that would expose his tackling a lot, period. And I think in the situations he'll be able to show that he's a good enough tackler in those spots. I mean, if he has to come down on the tight end that beat, the slot corner off the seam, then he can come down and make that tackle. That's not a problem. The problem with him is, like, if Lamar breaks a run and he gets past like 20, 30 yards and Grant has to kind of get on an angle to tackle Lamar, he's going to probably struggle in that situation, but at that point, Lamar would have had to break the tackles of Myles Garrett or whoever is on the 1st level, and then the 2nd level, and then the 3rd level. And the whole defense broke down by that point. So again, I think it is true. He's not a great tackler in specific situations, but I don't think that just means he's a terrible tackler overall. And I think that narrative about him is a little bit misleading because it's too general. So I really do like what I've seen out of Grant Delpit. I think Grant Delpit's going to be a very good Brown, and I think he, along with Greedy Williams, along with Denzel Ward, along with Carl Joseph, are going to solidify that secondary. And if the Browns continue to add depth and hopefully add, a free agent, maybe a Clowney, maybe an Ngakoue at the other edge position, once they hopefully get rid of Olivier Vernon, I think they will be able to solidify this defense and give them the depth and the strength in the back that they have needed to kind of grow into what I think that Browns unit should have been all along. So Grant Delpit, you get him somehow at 44. That is an A+ pick. I can't be mad at that. Jordan Elliott, the defensive tackle out of Mizzou. If you've watched this channel for any period of time, I have been begging for beef on the defensive line to be added to this team. They got Andrew Billings. I was pleased, and they pleased me even more with Jordan Elliott. Big old dude, 6'4", 302 pounds at the combine. He played at Mizzou last year at 315, so he can probably add a few pounds there on that 6'4", 300-pound frame. And again, I love that Andrew Berry is addressing this defensive line as aggressively as he has. I hope he gets even more aggressive and adds a Clowney or Ngakoue, like I mentioned before, because I think they need a couple more pieces on this defensive line in order to solidify it. And I know a lot of people are going to ask me, well, what about linebacker? Linebacker's more of a need. And I just don't think that linebacker's a position that requires you spend these high value picks at. I think you can get away with getting a free agent at linebacker or being frugal at the linebacker position, much like the running back position. I think history has showed that throughout the years, and they drafted a linebacker anyways. So yeah, with Jordan Elliott, I love that they addressed the position. The things that I've heard about him, honestly, comes from a video from Pro Football Focus. They say he has a great first step, and he wins a ton of battles, which I like. They say he needs to handle double teams a lot better. I think that's why he probably needs to pick up some weight and play probably at 320, 325, so he can get more strength and take on some of those double teams that he did struggle against when he was in Mizzou. But I love the frame. I love the athleticism. And I like what he can develop into for the future because Larry Ogunjobi's going to be on a contract coming up soon. Sheldon Richardson's going to run out of guaranteed money pretty soon here. So they're going to have options and flexibility on what they need to do on defensive line. I think he factors into that future plan. And then the Browns also drafted Jacob Phillips, linebacker out of LSU. Me personally would have preferred Malik Harrison, but that's kind of because I know more about Malik Harrison personally. I mean, I'm more familiar with the play of Malik Harrison, but Jacob Phillips, from what I've seen from the tape that I've been able to watch of him, very athletic. He is a see ball, hit ball kind of guy. I think he's going to be somebody who's going to be able to be kind of a downhill thumper from that linebacker position in the run game very early on. I think he's going to be helpful on run downs and against run-heavy teams like Lamar Jackson's Baltimore Ravens. I also think he might be useful as a spy in there so he could free up Mack Wilson to do more things. Real quick, I'm going to touch on some things that I liked in the second day of the draft that I saw from other teams, not necessarily for the team I'd root for, but the Baltimore Ravens got some guys today. The headline is Malik Harrison and J.K. Dobbins, the two Ohio State guys that they got. J.K. Dobbins will be ridiculous with the Baltimore Ravens. I know some people are like, well, where is he going to fit? And, is he going to be a third running back? And all? J.K. Dobbins is going to find a way to play, and he's going to be really damn good for the Baltimore Ravens. Mark my words on this. J.K. Dobbins will be phenomenal in the Baltimore Ravens system. He's a great pass catcher out the backfield. He's just... I'm so mad that they got J.K. Dobbins, to be honest. I'm so upset with the NFL that they let this happen. J.K. Dobbins, Baltimore Ravens, that's going to be fantastic. They'll figure out the depth issues after that. Then they got Malik Harrison after they got Patrick Queen. They didn't have holes to begin with on this Baltimore Ravens roster, quite honestly. They're a pretty solid one. And then they added two linebackers that I like and I think are starters in the NFL, and there goes that. They also, I think do they still have Peanut over there? They might still have Peanut. This ridiculous. They added 6 players in the top 50 this year. Think about how good the Ravens were last year all around. They added 6 players in the top 50. Come on. This is just ridiculous. The Baltimore Ravens have the most fortunate just runs of all time. And speaking of fortunate, the Cardinals lucked out because I didn't like their pick on Thursday with Isaiah Simmons because I thought they needed a tackle. But they got a guy I think can be in started tackle in the 3rd round in Josh Jones. So all the luck to them. I don't know how Josh Jones fell that far. I don't know why he fell that far. I don't think it's anything he had on tape. So good for the Cardinals. I thought the Bengals would for sure have picked up Josh Jones. I don't see why they didn't. So good for the Cardinals because they did need a tackle. But all in all, very interesting day. The Steelers and the New England Patriots both don't take a quarterback. More eyebrow raising for the Patriots than for the Steelers. I mean, I just can't think they would go into the season with Jared Stidham competing with Brian Hoyer and Cody Kessler. I just don't think that's the way to go. Also, with the Steelers, I didn't really see anybody they would love. Maybe Jacob Eason they get in the 4th or 5th round. That might make sense. Also, the Philadelphia Eagles of all teams took Jalen Hurts, which I don't think anybody expected. So a lot of just surprises and intriguing storylines for a second day in the draft. Maybe it's because nobody has anything better else to do. But this was a very exciting day 2 of the draft. But let me know down in the comment section below what you think of what the Browns did here. Do you think they addressed all their needs and they're kind of free to just draft whoever, the best player available now for the rest of the draft? Or do you think they still need to keep drafting some depth at defensive line, or draft some depth at offensive line, or draft some depth at linebacker? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, as well as your thoughts on anything else that was covered in this video. Also, don't forget to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, ding that notification bell so you can be notified when I upload, and I will be uploading a day 3 reaction, so stay tuned for that. But as always, guys, thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. Have a good night.